Just over the bridge from Seuss Landing, we are swept into a mysterious world. A mythical land long buried beneath the sea in the ruins of ancient history. A realm of power, pageantry, and glory.
The Lost Continent used to be a peaceful and complete nation with 4 unique attractions and 4 pretty great dining establishments. But then, the Harry Potter nation attacked. Harry Potter ravaged the countryside, taking out half of the entire land, taking 2 of its signature attractions with it, including its biggest and best attraction, Dueling Dragons, and also one of its standout restaurants. But the attacks didn't stop there. In 2017, Sinbad was forced to close thanks to Hagrid's construction in the Harry Potter land, leaving the Lost Continent as a husk of its former self with just 1 measly attraction and 3 restaurants to boot, with one of them barely ever being open. On top of this, the 1 remaining attraction, being Poseidon's Fury, has been closed ever since the March Madness tournament was cancelled in 2020. I'm still upset about that, man. Seton Hall should have won. However, although not officially announced, it is pretty obvious and pretty clear that Universal is working on refurbishing the attraction and getting it ready to reopen, hopefully sometime soon. With them giving Poseidon's Fury the much needed attention that it needed, does this mean that the Lost Continent is here to stay? And if so, how can Universal salvage what is left and actually turn this into a complete and full-fledged land once again? Well, don't worry, Universal, you can put your legs up for this one because I got you covered. I can tell you exactly what you need to do in order to save the Lost Continent. I mean, you already have a decent amount there to work with. You might not think there is, but there is. You got some fantastic theming. There's no doubt about that. Some of the best theming still in the park. I mean, there's no doubt about it that the theming is better there than in Toon Lagoon or Kid Zone, right? Not to mention the absolute banger of a score that you have playing in the background. And although you lost one of your key restaurants back in the day, you still have some of the best food in the entire park, the entire resort. Plus, let's not forget, despite being a land that only has 1 attraction and over the last 1.5 years has had no attractions, you still get tremendous foot traffic, which is not something that every place in these parks can say. Sorry, Jason Bourne. Thanks to, of course, Harry Potter, as most people enter the land from the Lost Continent. The problem is getting those people to stay and actually stick around in the land, which, I mean, to be fair to them, there's not much to do. You certainly didn't have to be a genius to figure this one out, but obviously the biggest issue with the Lost Continent is a lack of attractions. Even once Poseidon's Fury reopens, you still only have the 1 attraction, and that show doesn't have the best capacity either, so only so many people in a given day can do that. You need something or many things that can support a lot of people. And the other smaller issue here that, I hate to say, and people are going to hate to hear it, is there's no IP. There's a lack of IP here, right? I mean, I hate to say it, but people are going to look at the map and they're going to see Harry Potter, they're going to see Jurassic Park, and be like, I'm going to go to those places, and they're going to skip right over the Lost Continent. They're going to think, oh, let me go to Poseidon's Fury. Like, they're not going to think about that. They may stop by if they pass it, but to be honest, they're not going out of their way when they enter the park to go to these places because there's no IP attached to them. So, step number 1, you have to do something with Sinbad's plot. Right now, the theater is just sitting there empty and hasn't been used since 2017 because Hagrid makes too much noise. So obviously you cannot reopen the show, and honestly I don't even think that would be the best path anyways because that show didn't really get all that much attention. What I think you should do, however, is essentially bulldoze it, flatten it. There's a decent amount of space and a decent amount of land to be worked with there, right? It kind of gets underestimated just how much land there is in that back section of the Lost Continent where Sinbad is. And quite frankly, you can't do anything major there, but I think this is a perfect spot to throw in a couple of flat rides. They don't have to be anything crazy, right? All of them have to stay close to the ground because you can't be, going over the skyline next to Harry Potter or else J.K. Rowling will shoot you in the head. But really, this is the best prime real estate you have to salvage the lost continent. Put a few flat rides in there. The park overall, in fact, the resort overall, is in desperate need of flat rides. Yes, when you think of Universal or Disney, you don't necessarily think of flat rides, but they're crucial for building up capacity and for building more family-friendly, kid-friendly attractions, which really both parks are in desperate need of at the moment. Now, there are a ton of different flat rides you can go with, but one that I saw recently that I think would work perfectly here is this Himalaya-style ride, but instead of it just, going on its normal track and the ride moving for you, you can actually spin your cart in the middle of the ride. They have this at Europa Park. It's sick, and I would think this would be perfect here. It would be fairly unique and different, and because of that interactivity element, it wouldn't feel like some sort of carnival ride. It would actually feel like a unique and interesting ride. And on top of this, I mentioned a lack of IP. Why not take this back section where Sinbad is and turn it into kind of a mini land within the Lost Continent and theme it to some sort of IP? You could pull the trigger and bring Zelda here early if you want, or you can go with something else. The bottom line is this expansion would not be expensive, relatively speaking, and would be a quick and easy fix to just get way more attention for the Lost Continent and make it much more of a complete land, while also helping your whole park become more complete by getting more family-friendly attractions in the park. But there is another problem. Since Sinbad is tucked away in the back, there's a good chance that many people walking on that main path are not going to recognize that those flat rides are there, and they're just going to walk right by, go straight to Harry Potter like they normally do. So how do you get people to recognize that there are rides there and that they should go and check them out in the back area there? Well, guess what? You have a guy right there at all times who can direct them there, and it's the Mystic Fountain. Get this guy on promotional duty and say, hey, get back there and ride some rides, all right? Get him going 24/7 and ask him to start telling people to move back there, right? He could still have his normal show, but he's always got to be continuously promoting, hey, there are rides back there, go check them out. And bada boom, bada bing, all of a sudden, you're getting people to stick around in the Lost Continent for a substantial amount of time. So really, that is the strategy short term. That's what you need to do right away if you want to get the Lost Continent back up and going immediately. If you want to keep this around long term, let's say like 10 plus years, then I would say consider an attraction in the Lagoon, right? Obviously, you have no other really land to work with to expand the Lost Continent. So consider going into the Lagoon. I mean, that's really the next step. And I would say, maybe do like a boat ride or something like that, right? That kind of takes you through maybe some different myths or something like that. You don't want to ruin the Lagoon too much and have to build too much there. But if you can make something out of it, that would be pretty cool. Use the troll under the bridge thing that you already have going on over there and do something with that back half to build another attraction. That would be my step for a long-term plan. But ultimately, I think you got to do the Sinbad flat ride idea, or at least do something with Sinbad's plot in order to bring this land back to its complete state. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think that Universal can salvage the Lost Continent, or do you think that's too far gone? Do you think that they should just scrap it all together and bulldoze it right now and build something new there? Do you even want the Lost Continent to stay? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.